Live, here we are. Okay, so this Hangout on Air is now live. Welcome, welcome everyone. I see folks tuning in. Okay, so welcome to the Move the Crowd special live webcast. We do Move the Crowd, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a second. We do a monthly live webcast that is usually hosted by CEO Ragatis, where we take on the theme of the month. But this month, September, is the month of our live mastermind, one of our favorite events of the year. It's our biannual day-long training event for conscious entrepreneurs. And so because it is the month of September, we are doing a special webcast tonight and hosted by senior coach and trainer, conscious content creator, producer, director, social impact strategist, and activist, JLove Calderon, part of the Move the Crowd coaches cohort. And then, of course, our special guest, Annetta Marion, Primetime Emmy-nominated producer, award-winning director, all sorts of things that JLove will tell you more about in a second. So, welcome. We'll be together for about the next 45 minutes. You can... some of you may have submitted some questions already through JLove's Facebook posts over the past week or so. And for those of you just tuning in, you can submit a question via the interface, right? So wherever you're watching the video, right underneath it should be a Q&A box, and you can just go ahead and type your questions in there. So just before I hand it over to JLove, I'm just going to tell you a teeny bit more about Move the Crowd for those of you who are brand new to us tonight. So as I mentioned, we're an entrepreneurial training company. And what I realized is that I didn't even introduce myself. I got so excited to introduce JLove and Annetta because it's a special webcast. But I am Dana Balicki. I am an engagement strategist with Move the Crowd. And I'm also an alumni of the Move the Crowd True Paid Good Academy, which I'll tell you just a teeny bit about in a second. So, thanks for joining the Move the Crowd community here tonight. We focus really on conscious entrepreneurs and cultural creatives, and we work with clients to leverage their unique creativity, their strengths, and their passion into tangible and profitable results. And through the True Paid Good Academy, which I just mentioned, I'm an alumni of, and JLove is a coach. This is our 9-month-long intensive where you're paired with your own coach, and if you're lucky, you get Ms. J. If you're working actually in conscious content creation and media, then you get with Ms. J. But the entrepreneurs going through this work emerge with a vision to move forward, the knowledge to up their game, and the power to achieve their own flavor of success. So besides our special webcast, you can always join us for our live monthly webcast. We have a blog, where we are constantly moving through monthly conscious entrepreneurial themes together, and then we're on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @TruePaidGood. And you can join us live this month, September 26th, in New York City for our live mastermind. All of this you can find more info on, like I said, in our Twitter and our Facebook, and then our website, which is movethecrowd.me. Okay. Back to the present moment, back to the night. Like I said, we'll be taking questions in the interface, and we can't wait to hear from you, and we hope you enjoy. So I'm handing it over to JLove to introduce the lovely Annetta, and we'll get this party started.
Woohoo! Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much. Okay, beautiful people. So we are so blessed and so lucky to have an incredible human being with us tonight. I'm going to give you a little bit of her bio quickly so you know who you're rolling with, and then we're going to jump right into a delicious conversation. So Annetta Marion is an award-winning director and Primetime Emmy-nominated producer. Her experience in TV and film includes documentary, reality TV, narrative film, commercials, music video, and internet content. Annetta is currently directing for the acclaimed TV series Oprah's Masterclass, profiling entertainment icons. He was also the showrunner on Season 3 of the series, which was nominated for a Primetime Emmy. Woo woo! She's a graduate of AFI's Directing Workshop for Women and a member of both the Directors Guild of America and the Producers Guild of America. But what I really want you to know about Annetta, beyond all the amazing things that I just told you, is that she's a mentor of mine and a friend. And I feel like I can always call on Annetta to come through and support me in whatever project I'm working with. She's generous and kind with her knowledge and her information, and she really holds it down for me on set. And so I'm so excited. And Annetta, I know you're super busy, so just thank you so much for being here tonight. And I can't wait to kind of break bread with you symbolically and have this conversation so that we can kind of get into what does it really take to make it in the industry. So thank you so much for being our special guest tonight.
Well, thank you guys so much, JLove and Dana and Move the Crowd. This is my first webcast, so I'm a wee bit nervous, so bear with me.
Yeah, right, because you're usually behind the camera.
Yes, I'm generally, yes, behind camera talent, not on camera. So I'm suddenly like, oh, I would have done my hair.
We're flipping the script on you, Annetta. Fish out of water. It's good. Let's see how you roll.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay,
roll with it.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
My love.
Honored.
Of course. So, wanted to start off by just hearing a little bit about your own journey to success. How did you make it as you're this incredible working producer, director for one of the most powerful women in the world? So tell us and share some stories about your journey to get to where you are today.
I guess I've had a pretty long journey because, let's see, when I was in high school, I had wanted to go to art school. But then when I was a senior in high school, I just realized that I needed to sort of figure out how to make money, and maybe art school wasn't the way to go. So I went to my guidance counselor, and I'm like, so what should I do to make money right away? And she's like, well, you're good in math, you're good in physics, you took our computer science class, you should be a computer engineer. And I was like, great. So I went to engineering school, like just kind of an about face, went to engineering school. Worked as an engineer for about 7 years, and then, it just wasn't. My life was more, outside of my work. Like work was just a kind of a job, and I made my first film sort of accidentally, and fell in love with it, and quit my job, and started over in my late 20s or late 20s, like working my way up, interning, working for free, learning the ropes, and then I just kept working, and then I always wanted to direct. I always was directing, but now I'm able to be directing professionally, which is awesome, which I love, and so it was a very long route to get here.
So how did that first film come about, Annetta?
Let's see. I was working as an activist. A good friend of mine and I were working as activists at a pro-choice organization, and we were writing a grant. We had never written a grant before, and I'm sure you've written grants.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone in the audience has written grants before, but it is thankless, tedious, horrible work, in my opinion. I'm not good at it. And we were writing the grant, and it was for some, house parties to educate people about the issues or something, just really not very inspirational. Sorry, it wasn't very inspirational. And we were kind of like, well, if we're going to do all this work, what would we want to do our work? What would we want to do this work for? And we were big movie fans. And we were like, oh my God, let's make a movie. We were like, great, let's make a movie. So we went to our next meeting, and we're like, Bernadette and I are going to make a movie. Does anyone else want to make a movie with us? So naive. We didn't even know the difference between film and video. We knew nothing. So a friend of ours on the committee named Anne said, I'll make a movie with you. So we just made this movie. And lucky for us, our local Cablevision, this is in Cleveland, Ohio, lucky for us, our local Cablevision facility was next to a clinic. And they had it kind of up to here with protesters at the clinic. So when we went in and told them our idea to make this movie, they were like, great, let me,
Mm-hmm.
they gave us like this, usually like sort of once a month they would have classes for lighting and editorial and directing and stuff like that. But they abandoned that and they just gave us this one-on-one training because they were so stoked we were doing what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
We had like we just made this movie. And
Wow.
yeah, we didn't know anything. Like we ended up doing reenactments, even though we didn't even know what reenactments were. We got press passes to go to these big marches in Washington, and we had our little camcorder next to the CNN cameras.
I love it.
We just did it, and and we just fell in love, and then I pretty much quit my job.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes into my next question around, like, what do you feel like are the personal characteristics that have allowed you to really make it this far? Like, what have you had to call upon to really survive in this industry?
Well, I think so much of it is persistence, because that first film, I directed because that was my interest always. But then as I was figuring out how to make a living, it was much easier to make a living working as a producer. So, I really got sort of pigeonholed into producing professionally for a very long time, and I'm good at it. So when you're good at something, it's hard for the world around you to want to allow you to do something more, So, but I always, as I was producing professionally and kind of moving up the food chain, I always was directing my own projects independently, so I always was directing, just not professionally. But I didn't forget why I quit my job and started a whole new industry. It was always to direct. So it's about being persistent and kind of keeping I always kept my eye on that, even though I was having to make a living doing something else that wasn't my first love. And so it's persistence.
Yeah, persistence. And can you talk a little bit more and elaborate on this concept of you're really good as a producer, so you got pigeonholed into that? Can you talk a little bit about what was the struggle there and how did you end up getting out of it?
Well, so when I made my first film, I quit my job. And really, I would take these internships and not as a second AD, having no clue what a second AD did, and then I would research and I would figure it out. And then one of the nice things I think about making content is that it's something that you can learn by doing. There are some things you can't learn by doing, but everything that I think I've learned because I screwed something up royally. You know what I mean? You can learn by just trying, just putting it out there, doing the best you can, and then you're oh, that was wrong, but then you learn by the mistakes that you've made. So when I started out, and I was just kind of trying to learn in any way that I could, the way that I found, most people, you could just make a living or get work doing the production side of things, because that's more of support to the creative. And it's just harder to sort of jump into a creative role professionally, making money, because so many people want to do it. So I just always kind of kept doing that, just while I was making a living and getting to, learning more and getting to know more people. But I think the thing, I guess my break came when you become indispensable, be really good at what you do, become indispensable, and then you can ask for things. You're more likely going to get than if you're not.
And what is your strategy to becoming indispensable?
I think there's one thing you need to have to be a really great producer, and it's that you have to really, truly, deeply care. Because if you really, truly, deeply care, then all the other things that you do as a producer just come naturally. You know what I mean? You don't have to think about the double, triple checking or the, supporting your team or, making sure that the creative is right and it's true and it's honest, because if you just simply care, and I mean care deeply, all those other things just happen.
And when you say care, are you saying that you care about the content, like the project, or you care about excellence? Like, unpack that a little bit for me. I love this conversation.
For me, it's caring about, certainly 100% caring about the content, because I have no interest in making anything that's not as great as I can make it. Just don't, like, I don't waste my time. You know, I don't want to breathe that air. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be like great, or I'm just not interested. So it's definitely caring about the content, but it's also for me like super caring about the team and the people that you're working with, because like, you know, what we do making television is super collaborative. You know, and every single, and I just truly believe that like every single person is, you know, just, you know, equally important. And so when you work in an environment like that, it's super important to take care of that team, you know, which you could look at as the machine or whatever, but to me it's more, it feels team is the right word, not machine, you know. So it's the care and feeding of all those people, and we work, you know, really long hours and really intense hours with really crazy stakes and lots of eyes, and it can be really hard. And you know, and we work for long periods of time, so people are, you know, moving during that, and people are, you know, getting together, breaking up, like, you know, life happens, you know,
right.
And everyone is different every single day depending on what's happening in their life too. So it's caring for that kind of stuff too. So, and then also for me, like, I super care that once we've put all this work and energy and effort into something, that as many people see it as possible. You know, because I've worked so many times in so many different places where, you know, we slaved over something and 12 people see it at a film festival and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, our friends and family. Like, we really want the audience. The audience is super important because we're making stuff to communicate, and part of that, a key part of that is the audience to communicate to.
Right, right.
Those things for me.
Yeah, I love it. And what I'm hearing you say, Annetta, is like this deep caring, which I think also kind of translates into purpose. Like, you know, purpose and passion, which is something we talk a lot about at Move the Crowd. Like, how do you get intimately connected with what your purpose is here and what you're most passionate about? And that once you are clear and you're on that path and you say, okay, I want to produce, I want to direct, I want to make creative content, that because it matters so much to you, that everything that you look at, you're going to deliver excellence to.
Exactly.
Because your standard is that high, because you care so deeply. And that's from the team, that's to the scheduling, that's to the actual content, that's to how you are on set.
Lunch.
It all yes, yes. What are people eating? Yes. So, and I think it also goes back to a personal characteristic around, you know, you had mentioned persistence, but, you know, I also think it's this deep care, you know, that I think, that I'm hearing from you, that I think also not everybody has. You know, not everybody has.
Yeah, like, I feel like, you know, the team that I've been lucky enough to work with, you know, on Oprah's Masterclass for a bunch of seasons, you know, I feel like, like we're thoroughbreds. We know very well how to run as fast as we can. We don't know how to trot. We don't know how to phone it in. We don't know how to take the easy way out. All those things that I might be a lot more healthy if I knew how to do some of that. But like, we, you know, it's the other way that makes my heart go pitter-pat. You know what I mean? Like, the giving it your all, or I want to be on a beach somewhere. It's like one or the other.
Yes, yes.
So,
I love that. So you play full out.
Yeah, full out. Work and play.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. So I want to bring it back a little bit and broaden out the conversation to, you know, you're in the field all the time. You've been doing this for, you know, 15 years. Can you give us a little perspective on the current trends that are happening in the world of TV? Just like, what would be the broad landscape that you think that independent producers and directors and creatives might need to know in order to be thinking about the content that they might want to be creating?
I think what's true always is this, whatever you're going to make, you've got to like tick 3 boxes that are super, super important. And those boxes are, why this, why this content? Why this show, why this movie, why this web series, whatever it is, why this, why now? Like, why is now the right time? There has to be a reason. It can't be just, I just thought of it. No, it has to like fit into like the larger context of why now. Mm-hmm. And also, why me? Mm-hmm. Why am I the right person to make this? Why are you the right person to make this? Why is the team the right team to make this? So I think those 3 things are true no matter what the trends are, and like the tricky thing about trends, I think, is unless you have like an agent or a manager, or you have the inside track to networks and things like that, with all the research that one can do, you can basically see what's on TV now, which means what was being made 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. It's a really hard thing to distill what people are looking for now, because if you're looking at what's on television or what is going to be on television, it's too late. That's old. That's old news. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to hone in on what people are looking for now. It's kind of sometimes can be can feel like secret information sometimes. Like you just kind of need like an inside track. Mm-hmm. So because that's so hard to do, I think if you focus on the other 3 things, why this, why now, and why me, and have those stories be true, like have those reasons be real, not just an answer to a question someone's going to ask you. Like, right. Trust me, anyone who's heard pitches or ideas has heard a billion. And they're going to spot inauthentic whatever like that. Mm-hmm. Really, again, it's about being, those 3 questions, but like authentically answering those 3 questions.
Beautiful. I love that. It's such a great guide. I love that. I mean, I think that's really powerful. It's like as you're entering into conceiving your creative content, that these are the 3 questions you want to ask yourself before you go into it. I think that's really powerful. I love it. I really love that.
Good.
So let's talk about, let's say we have all these independent producers and directors and creative content creators that are on the call now listening into this webcast. What do you feel like is once they have their concept and they're, kind of like, okay, I have this concept, I know what I want to do, what do you feel like are the next steps that they should take in order to realize their content? Like to make something happen so that they can start to take it to market?
Well, I think if your concept, authentically, you're able to tick those 3 boxes, I think at that point in time, it's about, who you know. And when I've done this in the past, it's, it's obviously who I know personally, but then it's also who anyone you know personally might be able to introduce you to. So it's not just like who you know. Mm-hmm. You also just want to identify, like, your good friend network, someone who's going to do you a solid, someone who's going to make that intro, someone who's going to, I just find it more effective when you are able to, figure out some sort of like personal intro or personal connection sort of thing. I mean, you can always cold call, networks and production companies and that sort of thing, which is if if your concept is that killer, it can't hurt. But if you can, figure out some sort of, personal connection, even if it is a little bit fabricated. A friend of a friend of a friend, you know the details,
That's helpful.
That's, and then really once you kind of do, and that's like a deep dive homework. That's not like 10 minutes. That's looking at your Facebook. That's looking at your LinkedIn. That's, it's really a piece of work to quantify that, I think. And once you quantify it, you know, you go through whatever doors can be open to you from that network, whether it is going straight to networks or straight to or just to production companies and then get a production company partner that then help you go to networks. It's really, where are your open doors? You open a crack, blast through them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So let's talk about the package. You know, I think there's a lot of different people who give different advice about, like, should you try to shoot a sizzle reel? Should you try to shoot some content to have something to walk in? What about the treatment? Like, what would you give, based on your experience, what would you want a producer or director to have to walk into a meeting that they get with anybody, a corporation who might do sponsorship, you know, a nonprofit who might support a network, online platform? What does that package look like for you, and the order in which you think they should do it?
I don't like this, but I think it's true that today, if you don't have a sizzle, I mean, you know, you just have to have a sizzle. And I personally don't like that because, you know, it can be, you know, expensive and time heavy, resource heavy, all those things that would be like much easier if you didn't have to do that. But I think really at this point in time, without a sizzle, I mean, everybody else has a sizzle, like you just have to have a sizzle, you know. So I think it is, you know, and also kind of depends on, you know, what your project is. If it's a scripted project, if it's a reality-based project, if it's a documentary-based project, if it's, you know, a host-based reality sort of thing, you know. But I think it's a sizzle and, you know, also your, you know, just kind of like your treatment. And I think no matter what, your treatment should be, you know, obviously, you know, concept, and then, you know, kind of sample episodes. And then if your series has like a season arc, you know, some shows will be, you know, kind of one-offs and there is no arc. It kind of really, you know, so much depends on what the show is, but you know, the hard part I find about creating stuff like that is that you know, you can't escape anywhere. If you haven't got something figured out, it's gonna like bite you in the butt. So it's kind of good to go through all of that too, because it actually makes you. It's kind of like writing a grant. You know, it makes you go through all the work, which you're going to need to go through anyway, because if you're in the room and they're going to ask you everything they can think of, and you don't have the answer, you're fumble, you know, you might just like lost it that.
Right, so, absolutely.
So I do think it's a paper treatment as well as the visuals, the sizzle.
Okay, beautiful. And I concur with you. You know, just having been in the industry for a while, like I think it's almost near impossible to go into a meeting without showing what they call tape or a melt reel or a sizzle reel, right? So,
or even like a talent reel, like if you don't actually have the footage to make a sizzle, a proper sizzle, you know, like a talent reel, like you've got to have. And again, I'm not happy about it, but it's true.
Yeah, I concur. I concur with you. Yeah. So for the people who are watching and listening who might be like, oh, I have no money, how am I going to do that? Like, can you just give us some tips on, like, if you're independent, you have, you know, maybe it's your own pocket that you're going into, like, what are some tips that you can give to kind of produce a sizzle that you can be proud of, but really on a tight budget, on an indie budget? Can you give us any tips?
Well, favors, friends, beg, borrow, don't ask everybody for everything. You know, I mean, it's and also, I mean, I just saw, I can't remember the name of the movie. My friend Marilyn and I just saw a movie that was shot entirely on iPhones. A scripted movie. His name is escaping me. I'm sorry. And like, they weren't just using, like, you know, the iPhone that I have here. They, from what I understand, they had, you know, certain apps and, you know, kind of, you know, maybe a little bit of the iPhone plus some other things. But, you know, worst case scenario, do something like that. You know, and if you don't, I mean, kind of everybody has a smartphone. these days, right? So, worst case, like use whatever you have, whether, you've got a buddy with a camera or, whatever. And prioritize good sound. Take good sound over good visuals any day.
Okay, every
DP friend of mine is going to be hating me on this, and I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I hope you guys are listening to what Annetta's wisdom. And I do want to say that I just got back from some meetings in LA, and one of the executives, it was interesting, he said that he doesn't even care if you do like a Skype interview, like especially for when you have a hosted show, that he just needs to see something to see what's possible. And this was a top executive at a major network, and he's like, people might tell you to go spend $5,000 on a sizzle or $10,000. He's like, I'm telling you right now, I just need to see them on your phone or on Skype so I can see if they're even possible. He's like, don't waste your money. So I thought that was interesting, that he was saying that. So
I think it's true.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about being on set, because you're an expert at being on set. And I would love to, I'll have you on set any day I can, girl. I know, we had a blast. So what do you do, like what are some tips to make the set smooth and just run we know things come up, but what are some things that you can share with our audience around what can make a smooth set happen with you as a producer or director?
I think the one thing that's super, super important, it took me forever to learn this too, like why, I don't know, but when you're walking on set as like the director or, one of the top producers or whatever, like the mood that we show up in is so key, and I don't care if you've not gotten any sleep. I don't care if you're stressed out. I don't care if you've had a bad night, like whatever it is. Leave it in the car, in the cab, at home, whatever. Like it's just super important to, even if you're faking it, like make it up. Put a smile on your face and walk on to that set happy. And even if you're just, because, what you're giving out is what everybody, you're going to bring everybody up or you're going to bring everybody down. So like it's just, I think that's super important.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And there was something else I was thinking of and I wanted to say and I forgot. A friend of mine and I were just having this conversation because this is my definition of a director. Like, and this is my life as a director, I'm not a big director, I've worked my way up, sort of a thing, which I think, I'm a working director. I'm not an extra special Steven Spielberg kind of director. And in my world, as a director, it's my job to make the day, get what I need, get the shots, like no matter what happens. No matter if we lose a location, you don't melt down and stomp off and be like, well, I can't work. Like, it's not like that. It's like, all right, calm. What are the facts? What do we have? It's really about the job is to make whatever that day has presented to you work, period. It's not being precious about it. Like, it's not, I can't work in these, like, it's, a lot of people think of directors as, this kind of like,
divas.
Exactly. And honestly, as doing the job, that's not the job. It would be nice if it was the job, but it's not.
Right. I love it. I love it. That's great. Super helpful. So you guys heard it from Annetta. So like you curate energy. So you as director, you're running the show. So your energy, you have to show up positive, and you have to create that space so people can enter in and do their best work. I love that. So we're going to take a couple questions from Facebook now. And one of the questions that resonated for me was, what are the ways for women to launch careers as producers and directors?
Definitely well, first off, I think you just have to like make your own work. You know, you can't wait for someone to give you a job, or can't wait for someone to you just have to kind of do things on your own, you know, and take work wherever you can find it, whatever it is, even if it's not exactly what you want to do, but it's kind of nearer to what you want to do. And then again, like, become indispensable, work your way up, you know. And then when you become indispensable, don't be afraid to flex those muscles too. And I think, I mean, the stats, you know, the stats are dismal in terms of women directors, and you know how difficult it can be. But you just have to get in there, make your own stuff, work as much as you can. Don't be precious about it. Work whatever you can work, and then meet as many people as you can, telling them what you want to do. To be upfront about what you want to do, even though you're not doing it. Be upfront about what you want to do, and eventually, hopefully, someone will listen to you and give you a chance. Because it's really about finding everybody needs a champion. Everyone needs a first break. You know, and you also have to be super, super careful that when you do get that break, you knock it out of the freaking ballpark. Because you get one first break.
And that's it.
Yeah. So be ready. Ready to knock it out of the ballpark.
A game. Bringing that A game.
Yeah.
And Annetta, have you found, I don't want to focus it all on women, but have you found that it's been more challenging being a woman, and especially moving from producer to director? Can you speak about the challenges of that as a woman?
I think it's just harder because, I think women get less chances. You know, I think we have to be so much better than the average white guy. I mean, it's unfortunately the way that it is, you know. Like the day that to say the average white girl can get as far as the average white guy, then it'll be different. But it's not like that now. I think it's just, there's growing awareness of that. So hopefully awareness is the first step to things changing. And I don't think people, even the decision makers and the people who have the power, I don't think it's a conscious thing. It's just it's an unconscious thing. It's, it's really, figuring out how to break that unconscious bias that people have.
And do you feel like we're headed in that right direction? Do you feel and see the change with women and folks of color and women of color?
I want to see what happens with that ACLU lawsuit. That's what I want to see happen. So, I don't think, all the data that's come out of the DGA, of late is that, the numbers are going backwards.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's getting better. But I think because the numbers are going backwards, and because they, with the DGA's work and the ACLU and things like that, maybe the attention will finally, we could be heading toward like a tipping point where people are going to actually do something instead of talk about it. But, do I think that's a given? No.
Wow. Okay. So we have to keep pushing.
Oh God, yeah.
We have to keep pushing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Thank you for that. Annetta, another person wanted to ask, what are you doing to sustain yourself in the entertainment industry? Like, how do you sustain your health and well-being? How do you do this?
I don't. Sorry, it's kind of true, kind of not.
Uh-oh.
What do I do? I try and surf as much as I can. Little bad.
Oh, that's so cool. In New York?
In New York, yeah. Really? I've been doing it this summer, finally.
Wow, that's
braved
great.
The cold water.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to speak of work-life balance. So I guess my biggest thing is like I really, really like what I do, so it doesn't feel like work. You know, I don't wake up in the morning like, oh, I gotta go to work, or I mean, I'm wake up and I'm stoked and I can't wait, and you know, so that's a huge help. You know, I haven't always loved my jobs, but I have for a number of years now, and it's makes it so much easier.
I love that. Okay, so we'll take
Jay, Jay, why don't you tell us what you do?
Yeah, I love that. You know, for me, my health and well-being and self-care has to live at the center because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and for 2 decades I actually put everybody and everything in front of me. And I wasn't as successful and I wasn't as happy. So I have a workout regimen, I do spiritual practice, I ensure that I'm with my community and with people who love me and who I love. And then I'm going out, you know, a couple times a month just to relax and, you know, have a nice glass of wine. So for me, it's that holistic self-care of community and friends, love and caring, physical, like exercise and taking care of that, and then also spiritual practice. And that's what really keeps me grounded.
And do you feel like that makes your work better, Miss J? Sorry, I'm taking
I know it does. I know it does because when I am at my best, I can deliver my best. Right? And so when I'm happy, when I'm healthy, when I'm standing in my power, my grounded sense of being, my purpose and my passion, then everything that I do is of a higher, like a higher, I'm able to deliver at a higher level, period, consistently, my highest and best consistently over time. And it feels good.
Thanks. All right, I'll step back again now.
Thank you, Dana. It was a great question. So, Annetta, can you share with us, like, just, you know, a lot of us are struggling. You know, it's hard. We feel like we really want to be able to make incredible content and get it up and out in the world. What do you feel like it really takes to be one of the people that makes it through? Like, you know, and you've been sharing some of this, but if you have to give us, like, the top 3 things to do in order to really become successful, aka really having people see our content, like, what would you say we should be doing?
Well, are you talking about like creating your own show, getting it on television, or are you talking about working in the business in general? Because they're kind of
different related, but I think we tend to attract people who are making content, like independent producers and directors. So if I'm somebody who has compelling content and I really want to get it up and out, you know, like, how can you, like, what can you share with us to help us kind of get to the next step, the next level?
Well, I think, you know, what's super important, you know, so much of this business is a kind of a who you know sort of a thing. You know, I'm not happy about that because I don't know anyone, but, you know, I think that's just true. So I think it's, and if you don't already have a community, I think it's in your best interest to create a community, and you can create a community, you know, a bunch of different ways. You can, you know, join organizations, and not just join and wait for an organization to help you. Like, join, show up, volunteer, get to know people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you have enough credits to join a professional organization like, you know, NIWIFT or the PGA, do it. And not just join and wait for the organization to help you. Join and say, what can I do for you, organization? And then you get to know people and you work on subcommittees and you get to, you know, there's ways to create networks if you don't already have them. And if you don't have enough professional credits to join, you know, organizations like that require them. I mean, there's there's meetups, there's, you know, online, there's so many different ways to connect with like-minded people. And it's not showing up once. It's not showing up waiting for someone. Like, it's showing up. Become a community member. Produce, provide, help other people, and then you get to know people, and like it's that kind of energy, which I think is super important. And hopefully something, if you are starting from scratch, it's the 6 degrees of separation sort of a thing, because you never know who is going to open that door for you. You never know who's going to like get to throw you that ball that you're going to like knock out of the ballpark. And have to mine everything that you can think of, and everything that you do it like you're being paid thousands of dollars a day. Like, if you're not going to put your all in, stay home. Don't waste time. But if you are going to become like a community member or a committee member, or start your own whatever, bring it. Like, bring it, everything it, not like half of it or the tired it or whatever. Like, bring it or stay home.
Woo-hoo. Go ahead, Annetta. I'm glad you're saying
it. Or go home.
Exactly. I'm glad you're saying it. And I just want to add a little bit, and then I'll probably turn it to you, Dana, to see if there's any other questions from our community. I just want to add as well that, like, for me, if you call yourself a producer, then produce. If you say you're a director, direct. Like, I don't care what you're directing or producing, but like, I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh yes, I do this, but they're not doing it. They're just waiting again for somebody else. Like, I agree with Annetta. Don't wait. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait for somebody else to greenlight your dreams. They're your dreams. It's your vision. So go out and do it. So I don't care what it takes, but I'm saying, and I feel like Annetta's saying, go out and do it. Be in action. And that's also how you learn the most. Like, the more that you're out there doing it, is the better you're going to become at your craft, period.
Hurry up and make all those mistakes, because I think everything I know is from all the mistakes.
Yes. I love it. So is there any Oprah story that you want to share with our viewers before we turn it over to Dana? A favorite story that you might have for directing Masterclass, either with Oprah or one of the amazing icons that you've worked with?
Oh boy, there's so many stories. I have a funny story that I've told that people seem to like. It's kind of crazy, but season 2 of Masterclass, the Jane Fonda episode, she told a story about swimming in the Mediterranean, and I can't remember the star. I think it was Ingrid Bergman. Had dove into the water and was swimming around with little Jane Fonda, and how moving it was that this woman paid her attention because she didn't get attention, whatever. So, beautiful story. So I'm shooting what we call the illustrations, which are kind of like the scripted pieces of the show that kind of shows the visuals to this story. And I had cast an actor I cast her for her ability to dive beautifully into the water. We're shooting at a location in New Jersey that, was the Mediterranean. And I had the actor who would jump in, and it was the sun's going down, so it's beautiful golden hour, and like we have just, minutes to get the shot because the light is perfectly right, and like, the woman's about to dive in. And when she's about to dive in, she suddenly gets cold feet because she's like, I don't know how deep that water is. And I was like, trust me, we scouted this location to make sure that it was deep enough for you to dive in. It's perfectly safe, like, for real, trust me. Like, and she just couldn't do it because she was suddenly afraid to dive. And like, literally, the sun is going down, the light is moving, and I'm like, oh my God. So I take off my boots, I hand my iPhone and my boots to the PA, and I jumped in. And I fully clothed, fully clothed, except for my boots. So I jump in, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go touch the bottom. Like, see my hands, like, and I would come back up and like, see how deep it is, you see how deep it is? And so I finally convinced her to, and I got out of the way, and she dove in right before the light was out. And That's what directing is. It's that glamorous.
I love it. Annetta, I love that.
Yeah,
And just that you made that decision in like 5 seconds. You're like,
the crew is like, what is she doing?
I think that's so fly. I love that. I'm so
getting her done. That's what
yeah,
you do.
exactly. By any means, man. That's so dope. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
that's a funny
Annetta,
story.
any closing remarks before we turn it back to Dana? Any closing thoughts?
Well, first of all, I thank you, JLove. I love so much working with you, as you know, sister. And Dana, so nice to meet you. And like, I'm stoked about everything. And I hope I didn't prattle on too much. It's my first one.
I love it.
I could barely keep up with the Twitter, so okay.
So yeah, just thanks. And I think really, you just have to go out and do it. And you have to do it wrong a whole bunch of times before you get it right, and that's cool. Do it. Just do it. And try and learn. And also, one more thing. I made this mistake at the very beginning. I shot a whole lot of things, but didn't follow them through to editorial. I didn't finish things. Shoot and finish it, because so much of the learning is like when you're in the edit room going, oh my God, why did I do this, or why didn't I do this? And also join every organization that you can now. If you have enough credits to join NIWIFT, join NIWIFT. If you have enough credits to join the PGA, join. It's worth the money. And join organizations and show up and become a leader. So.
I love that. Yay! You're so great. And Dana, can I make this announcement about the 26th?
Yes, please. I've been waiting.
So I think you guys, for those who are coming on the 26th for our Move the Crowd Mastermind, I'm so excited to just reveal that Annetta is going to be our special guest. Woohoo! So if you're a badass content creator and you want to get your content up and out, Annetta's going to be joining us on the 26th, and we're going to do a very special breakout. So I'm so excited, and thank you, Annetta, for coming and being with me in the grind as we support people, handling their business and becoming successful.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Dana, back to you, my love.
Yes. So as Jade just mentioned, we're going to have these lovely women in conversation in a breakout. Roll up your sleeves. Get down and dirty with them on September 26th. And this is live in New York. So if you're near New York and you don't have any plans, or even if you have plans, break them, right? Because you don't want to miss this. And not only will the mastermind, feature these two amazing women. That's just one breakout of 3 breakouts, and that's not to even mention like our keynote, the fabulous Michael Skolnick, who we were in conversation with last week, and a slew of other experts, and then just the visionary entrepreneurial community that is Move the Crowd, right? So like if you're looking for a tribe in what you're building in the world, like this is a place to find conscious tribe. And who's down to do this work, to like take off their boots, throw their iPhone, dive in, right, do the work. So you'll be in good company if you want to make your passion your business, right? Or if you're already doing it and you're ready for the next level, right? JLove is an amazing coach for taking you to the next level, and we have other amazing coaches that will be in the room that day as well. So you can find out all of the information about the mastermind, right? This is the live mastermind, by going to movethecrowd.me. Of course, you can find us and all this information, on Twitter. Our handle is TruePaidGood. We're on Facebook, right? Move the Crowd. Find us, connect with us, show up on the 26th. We'd love to be with you. We've got an early bird that is ending on Friday, so early bird rate's still good. And then, of course, there's always connecting with JLove and our other amazing coaches for a free strategic session, right? So you can have them dig in with you on your business, on your vision for your business, and get 30 or more minutes. I've heard they really sort of lean towards 45. And just really, sorry to blow up your spot, but it's true. But it's an incredibly valuable conversation, and where else do you get this opportunity to work with, for free, right, for a concentrated amount of time to get someone like JLove, get an expert inside of your business, thinking about it and helping you grow it. So all these ways, and on social media, and every month for our webcast, join us. We're here. We would love to be supportive of your vision and see how our work can do that. I think that's it. Jay, any last words?
I just want to say that I think it's really important that Annetta mentioned like purpose and passion, and that's what we're committed to at Move the Crowd, is really how do you find your purpose and passion, and how do you make that profitable and sustainable. So I just encourage you all. I hope this was helpful tonight. I hope you got a little gem and a little insight. But it's all about you and really figuring out what you want to contribute in this lifetime. Like, why are you here? And what's your unique gift that you want to offer the world, and finding that, and then making sure it's sustainable for yourself and your family. So go out there and do what you need to do to live your highest and best, and so that you can have the life that you want to manifest.
Love it. Okay. Thank y'all, and have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you.
Thank you,
in New
Annetta.
York.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Annetta. Thank you so much.
So much fun.
Okay.